Wildfires, mudslides and measles? Perhaps the first two are something you'd expect to happen here in Southern California. But measles? In this Virtually Rick, we take a closer look at the rise of a disease we all thought was long gone. So, come with me. Let's get virtual. A recent outbreak here in Los Angeles is the worst in decades. But in the year 2000, the US declared the war on measles was over. So, where are these new cases coming from? Well, the World Health Organization, the WHO, says that measles cases worldwide increased by 300% in the first quarter of 2019, particularly in the Philippines, India and the Ukraine. Add to that the problem of unvaccinated Americans traveling the world more and more, then bringing it back home to communities with low vaccination rates, and you have a ticking time bomb on your hands. The basic principle is this. It's called herd immunity. And what that means is, look at what happens when a group of people who aren't immunized are infected by one person. It infects 90% of the group, and rapidly. The virus itself can stay in the air for hours. But when the group is 99% immunized, the whole group, the whole herd, is protected. So when you immunize your child, that child's immunity is actually contributing to the control of the disease in the whole group and the greater population at large. And because the measles is a particularly aggressive disease that spreads quickly, experts recommend 95% of Americans are immunized in order to keep the protection strong. Even if you have 100% vaccination, there'll still be the odd case of measles, but scientists and doctors say that's way better than the alternative. Death from measles is rare, but the health side effects are awful, particularly for babies and kids. Pneumonia, lung infections, or encephalitis, that's the swelling of the brain, blindness and physical disabilities. Fears were stirred about the measles vaccine by a paper in the late 90s, now discredited by the medical community, with study after study refuting it, but the impact has meant more people have refused to immunize their children. In late 2018, the CDC released a report saying that 100,000 kids in the US hadn't been vaccinated against any of the 14 main diseases for which shots are recommended. Vaccines are the most intensely tested and scrutinized medical products by these guys, the FDA. Testing happens over decades, costs millions, and are monitored by lots of organizations, including reports from the patients themselves. And as for the suggestion that big pharmaceutical companies are doing it to get rich, well, the plain truth is they would actually make more money if they didn't make vaccines, as they're so cheap to produce and their effects last a lifetime without many repeat uses. So that's not really a very big money spinner for them. Will getting the measles vaccine make you contagious? No. Could you just take vitamin shots and antibiotics? No, that won't protect you either. The truth is, most families are getting it done. More than 94% of American parents vaccinate their kids, so only a very small percentage are not protecting their children. We're living in a modern world where it's hard to catch up with the facts and believe the truth, as it's so often distorted by those with agendas. The plain truth is, there's no substitute for science. After all, it's got us as a species this far, moving us from beyond smallpox, polio and diphtheria. But if you're in doubt, speak to your doctor, because only if we work together can we make ancient diseases a thing of the past.